Hi, everyone. Welcome to our afternoon block of day 2 of Nature Relationships and Wellbeing Online Forum. So to start us off this afternoon, we're going to have a session on certified forest therapy trails, enhancing human and environmental well-being with Holly Jo Walters, Florencia de los Santos Garza, and Michelle Morton. So this presentation aims to highlight the essential role of place in fostering a deep reciprocal relationship between individuals and the natural world. So Holly Jo serves as a program director for the Trails, Spaces, and Places at the ANFT. And Michelle Morton is with the Conner Prairie Museum and serves as their nature engagement specialist. And Florencia is also a certified forest therapy guide and consulting in the design of nature-based health, wellness, and social cohesion programs. So welcome to the three of you. It's a pleasure to have you here with us. I'm just going to spotlight you so that we can see you clearly.
Great, thank you.
Michelle. Can't find Michelle. Oh, there she is. All right, take us away.
All right,
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to kick us off today with just a little intro, short little 2-minute film here. And then we'll go ahead and start our presentation.
Imagine your favorite place in nature. Maybe you're walking along your favorite trail, or sitting near your favorite creek. The gentle whisper
Of course, it hasn't done that once until right now. See if I can get it going.
or sitting near your favorite creek. The gentle whisper.
I'm going to go out of my main screen mode and see if I can get it to go that way. Apologies.
Imagine your favorite place in nature. Maybe you're walking along your favorite trail, or sitting near your favorite creek. The gentle whisper of the wind, and the soothing embrace of nature all around you. Now, let's take that feeling deeper. What if I told you that you could cultivate and deepen this connection? Welcome to the world of forest therapy trails. ANFT, or the Association of Nature and Forest Therapy, helps to create immersive trail experiences designed to deepen our bond with nature. These trails aren't just walks in the woods. They are intentional spaces, crafted to help us reconnect with the natural world in a meaningful way. Think about it. Our surroundings play a pivotal role in our mental and emotional health. By understanding and nurturing our connection to the natural places we love, we can cultivate a sense of connection and responsibility towards these places. This isn't just about personal well-being. It's about fostering healthier ecosystems and communities too. Picture yourself on a forest therapy trail that invites interaction, invites exploration and curiosity. Listening to the rustle of the leaves, noticing the warmth on your skin. Just noticing. In these moments, you deepen your relationship with nature. You start to feel how your well-being and the health of the environment are beautifully intertwined. Reconnect with nature, and the health of the places we love. In doing so, reconnect with yourself. Discover how forest therapy trails can nurture your well-being. Reach to the Association of Nature and Forest Therapy to learn more. Take a moment to breathe deeply and let nature heal you. Thanks for watching.
Holly Joe, you're muted.
Thank you. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. We'll try that again. Thanks for joining us today. We've just seen a beautiful depiction of the connection that we can have with nature through forest therapy trails. Today, we're diving into the importance of place in cultivating a meaningful relationship with nature and how forest therapy trails can both enhance our well-being and the well-being of the places that we love. We'll discuss why taking a walk on these paths can make you feel better, both mentally and physically. And we'll also dive into the unique elements that you can expect to find on these trails that set them apart from your typical hiking trails and paths. Our session today is going to unfold in 3 parts. First, I'll share some insights, and then we'll hear from our 2 phenomenal speakers, Florencia de los Santos and Michelle Morton, who will discuss how forest therapy trails are transforming their communities. And finally, we'll wrap up with a Q&A session to engage with any questions that you all might have. So our personal relationship with nature is fundamentally tied to the places where we live, work, and play. Our surroundings profoundly shape our relationship with the natural world, whether it's a walk in your favorite park, hiking on a trail, spending some time on the beach. These are the places that we seek solace, rejuvenation, and even comfort. Now, we've been hearing all weekend about the benefits of nature connection. Research shows that spending time in nature can lower stress levels, reduce anxiety, improve overall mood, and immune function. Forest therapy trails really capitalize on this by providing a calming atmosphere where you can disconnect from the hustle and bustle of daily life and drop out of your mind and into your body, a place where you can just feel and be. Before I go any further, I just want to share a little bit of background about my journey. I've dedicated my whole career to stewarding and creating spaces where people can genuinely connect with nature. As a former ranger and park manager, I know my own transformative experiences have fueled my passion for establishing these trails in this way, to provide sanctuaries really for people so that they can explore their own personal relationship to nature and find healing and connection, rediscover, and really it's about remembering our relationship to nature. So here at ANFT, we've been certifying trails actually since 2017. And when we started, it really marked a significant milestone for us in helping to promote forest therapy, both in the United States and around the world. These trails serve as gateways to nature, inviting people to engage in the restorative practice of forest bathing. So I know when I walk in nature, it really lifts my spirits, and I find that connection that I have with my surroundings really starts to deepen with the practice of forest therapy. And these trails are specifically designed to enhance that experience. So these trails invite you to really slow down, to breathe deeply, and to fully immerse yourself in the sights and the sounds and smells, to explore through touch and all of your senses. As always says, the forest is the therapist and the guides opens the doors. Well, forest therapy trails serve also as door openers in this way. So forest therapy certified trails really aren't new. To understand the origin of this concept, we can look to Japan, where Shinrin-yoku and forest bathing originated. In Japan, forest therapy roads, which are very much like trails, and bases, which are facilities that people visit, are designated areas within the forest that have been scientifically evaluated and certified in Japan by the Forest Therapy Society after undergoing an analysis to confirm their positive effects on human health. Got just a few pictures here of some various places in Japan. Now, nearly a quarter of the Japanese population, over 125 million folks, partake in forest bathing every year, and 2.5 to 5 million people visit these forest therapy bases every year. At ANFT, we take a little bit different approach. We take the One Health approach, which really embodies and recognizes the interconnection of human, animal, and environmental health. And by engaging with nature, we support not just our well-being, but the health of the planet as well. So our evaluation helps land managers identify areas where they can enhance and curate their spaces to provide an immersive forest bathing experience for their guests and patrons. We don't require that the trail or natural space undergo scientific analysis to confirm its effects. Instead, we require the site be evaluated by a certified forest therapy guide that's also been trained by ANFT to support land managers specifically in this way through this process. It's through that lens, through the guiding lens, that the consultants will evaluate the space. They provide recommendations on how to enhance and curate those spaces to really help forest bathing activities. And they also will provide invitations that allow trail users to experience forest bathing walk with or without a guide present. So I had kind of jumped ahead on my slide here. So what can you expect when you go out and find a forest therapy trail? Well, first and foremost, these trails are intentionally designed to engage all of your senses. You might find areas where you're invited to touch the bark of a tree or listen to the sounds of the forest, or even just to observe the intricate patterns in nature. These elements encourage mindfulness, helping us to connect with the environment in a more profound and deep way. Here's a few more photos. So unlike standard trails, forest therapy trails often include elements like designed quiet zones, areas to gather, sensory stations, sit spots, platforms to rest on and lay on your back and gaze up at the sky. You might find benches placed strategically for you to sit and soak in the beauty around you. And you'll be guided by prompts and invitations that encourage you to interact with nature in a new way. So these features are all designed to enhance your experience and promote the well-being. So it's not just about the physical act of walking, it's about creating an experience that really encourages you to slow down, to really notice whatever catches you in the landscape. Amos was talking to that earlier. As you walk, you'll be invited to engage in different ways with all of your surroundings. So here what we're seeing is an area, Mark Ellison's one of our certified consultants, and that top left trail there, they've got these installations where people can just lean back and lay and just take in the forest surroundings. Shelter is sometimes recommended. If you have inclement weather, it gives folks a place to go and spend time there while they're still experiencing their surroundings. And then we also see we're just setting up some chairs in a place that has a nice view can be really impactful and encourage and invite people to just sit and take in their surroundings there. And in the lower middle there, that's actually an invitational signage. So that one is on pleasures of presence specifically. And so when people go on these walks, they are actually curated through an entire forest bathing experience through the length of the walk. All right, so we offer a lot of different options, but one thing they all have in common is these spaces should be where people with a wide range of fitness levels and abilities can interact with nature primarily through their senses. And it's really up to the land manager how they want to do this. The consultants will work directly with the land manager to determine if it needs to be a guided, self-guided, or hybrid trail. So a guided trail is actively being programmed and utilizing a certified guide to take people out. Self-guided would offer like this invitational signage to walk people through the process. And then a hybrid trail, it gives the opportunity to both program with certified guides and then to also allow for people to self-explore and go on a self-guided trail on their own. So we do offer a variety of experiences to lead people on these journeys. And so these really help to immerse the visitor in nature, and it really fosters a holistic approach to well-being. So there's a few more pictures of some of our certified sites: Taft Gardens, Silverwood, La Ilusión in Colombia. So these trails really connect us to one another and each other. We currently have 27 certified forest therapy sites in 6 countries now, with 7 in progress. We have 3 nearing completion right now that should be certified in the next couple weeks. And I'd like to encourage everyone to find a nature and forest therapy trail near them. These pathways really guide participants to fully experience your venue or your park in a way, and through opening their hearts and minds and all the wonders. So, all right. So another beautiful aspect of forest therapy trails is the sense of community that they can foster. These trails really encourage shared experiences that can deepen your connections with others. Guided walks always include time for sharing and often include tea with others. But through programming, land managers can have events and really engage the community in this way. So if you're thinking about giving it a try, start by taking a look at our certified forest therapy trails on our website on anft.earth. And if you know of any trails that you think should be certified, we'd love to hear about it. So please let us know. And now I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Florencia de los Santos, who's been instrumental in promoting forest therapy and forest therapy trails in Mexico. And then following her, we'll have Michelle Morton, who will share her insights on community engagement through nature and forest therapy. So please join me in welcoming Florencia.
Thank you, Holly. Could you share? Oh, thank you. I have the permission to share. Is view my presentation is clear? Yes. Thank you. Well, hello. Good afternoon, all. Thank you, Holly, for having me there in this presentation, participating with you and Michelle. The name of my presentation is Nature-Based Social Innovation, because I think it's very important to these trails and places and spaces. I start with a little about me. I'm Florencia de los Santos Garza from Mexico, from Monterrey, Nuevo León, Mexico. I'm working now with nature-based solution, more focus on health, well-being, and social cohesion or social inclusion. I'm working designing green care programs based in forests, based in care forests, in urban parks or urban forests, green care based in tourism, and also green care based in social agricultural, sorry, in the urban area and also in the rural area. With ANFT, I'm designing well-being spaces, places, and trails. And I'm expert in nature-based therapies, and I'm a certification by ANFT, like a guide, and also like a consultant for forest therapy trails. I told you about a little about nature-based social innovation. Is mainly my work and my passion. I work identifying and creating ecosystem in the health, environmental, and also economic, educational, and social sector to identify stakeholders, and when we identify that stakeholders, we can design and implement co-creation programs that contribute to the well-being of people and the well-being of the planet. It's very important to take that in account, not just designed to the planet or just designed to the persons or the people. We need work together because we are all part of nature and we are nature also. And we need to work in a global context to understand the global situation and to work also in local context. It's because I trying to do a zoom out of the global context and then zoom in the local context of Mexico. Oh, sorry. I can. I can say you that more than the 90% of our evolutionary life has been spent in nature, but we have been gradually disconnecting from nature in recent centuries. Why this disconnection? Is because of the urbanization, it's because of the industrialization, the fast life. We are living a very, very fast life and very stressed life, and it's because is that the cause of this disconnection. And also with this, we have main global health trends that is affecting both people and the planet. These trends highlight the urgent need for sustainable solutions that promote the health of both humans and the planet. Air water pollution, climate change, extreme weather. We are migration. We are living migration about the climate change. It's very urgent topic that we need to work in that, and we also have a loss of biodiversity and ecosystem health. And how can we do to affront this problem, global problems, and to connect people with the nature, and how can we connect people with nature in Mexico, in my country and in my context? And I think a trail space or place dedicated to connecting people with themselves, with others, and with the rest of the natural world is the best solution to address these social environmental problems that we face. And working in that, I present this context to ecological park is Chipinque. Chipinque is in San Pedro Garza Garcia municipality. Is one of the biggest municipalities of the Latin America. Is in Nuevo León, Mexico, but is a very big important municipality, and there are a natural reserve. It's an urban park, but they have a natural reserve that they are protecting during many years. And I offer this program today I'm very grateful for the general manager, Lorena Vasquez, that she trusts in me and in this program. And now we have the first place in Mexico that has the first certified trail for forest and nature therapists by ANFT. It's our therapeutic trail. It's the first therapeutic trail in Mexico based on nature, and it's an honor to Chipinque have this certified trail. Why offer this program to Chipinque, and why Chipinque like this program? Is too much about professionalization of the forest and nature therapies, because there are many people offer for forest bathing, walking in experience in the nature, forest therapies, nature therapies, but if we have a trail certified by some standards based on ANFT standards, I think, and we think we can professionalize these practices. The reasons of that is become an innovative organization, enhance credibility and recognition of the institution, but also of the place, and promote visitor well-being, not just well-being, also health and social cohesion, attract a specialized audience, maybe tourists, maybe researchers, and many kinds of audience or public. Ensure sustainable conservation. Now it is very important manage sustainable forest managed plans, and this is very important for or contribute to the general forest managed plan of the park or of the reserve. With this, prioritize social inclusion, engage the community, incorporate cultural connections, diversify income streams, other forms to have incomes, and strengthen social resilience and cohesion. Not just resilience from for the peoples, but also resilience for the place, because if you love nature and you notice the benefits that that nature provides you want to take care nature. And this is an invitation, and join us in transforming nature into a place and source of healing and community. Thank you. And it's your turn, Michelle.
So, I was hoping to share a photo while I'm speaking. Yeah. That on the screen. Great. Well, hi, everyone. My name is Michelle Morton. Thank you, Holly Jo, for inviting me today, and thank you, Florencia, for sharing this space with all of us. Thank you to ANFT for hosting this forum, and Manuela and Gita, lovely to see you all again. So I am currently a forest therapy guide in central Indiana, just outside of Indianapolis. And Holly Jo invited me to speak today just to share a bit about my experience with certifying trails and about the importance of the place in that process. I work at a living history museum. It's been active for over 50 years here in central Indiana. And the vision of this space, it's called Conner Prairie, and our vision is to expand the boundaries of history and natural resources by exploring, celebrating, and improving the human experience. And so that vision is really at the heart of what we've been doing for 50 years and what we continue to do. Historically, this place, it has focused on a place and time. All right. In 1836, people dress in costume. You can come and you can visit, and you're kind of stepping into what life was like then. And it's a way to connect people to the land, and historically how people have interacted with the land. And over the last few years, as you know, things have changed and things have modernized in the world, we're also thinking about how can we still be a living history museum and maybe utilize the land in slightly different ways that we've been using it at the museum. So there's been an expansion of having different festivals. We host the symphony every summer it's called Symphony on the Prairie, excuse me. We've recently opened a trail system, which is where this comes together. And we're working to expand our nature-based programming because we actually sit on over 1,000 acres of land at the museum where I work. And so we're really thinking about how can we take these historical stories and really expand them into nature-based stories as well. And additionally, having 1,000 acres in the middle of the suburbs of Indianapolis is really quite special because all around us is just a sea of suburban development, what word am I thinking of? It's expanding, and we have this 1,000 acres where there is no expansion. So we have this beautiful, quiet space where, like I said, it's like this unofficial nature preserve, and it's this space for people and animals and plants and all the beings that we can share the space with there. And so in my role, I work in the education department as the nature engagement specialist, and I get to plan and facilitate nature-based programs for our guests in this beautiful space. And in that work, when our trails opened just this past March, we wanted to ensure that our nature-based programs kind of matched three different goals. One, kind of physical approach to spending time out in nature. We usually like programs on the trails. We've launched a stroller strides program. If you're familiar with the organization Fit for Mom, it's like exercise classes for new parents with their children in strollers. And so we have those classes and all of this to really meet the physical wellness benefits of time in nature. Additionally, we wanted our nature-based programs to have like a cognitive and learning experience too. So we have guided bird outings, including walks, including big sits. We do tree identification walks. We even have done some monarch tagging recently. And so that's really that kind of in your head types nature programs we have on our trails. And then finally, especially as a forest therapy guide, I wanted to ensure that our programming included mental health and wellness components. And so bringing forest therapy into this trail system was a really important piece of this approach as we started planning programming connected with the trails. Overall, forest therapy, it doesn't have a huge following yet in central Indiana. There are a handful of us who are guides, many of whom, funnily enough, have been trained by Manuela. We have that fun connection. And so we're working to really bring the practice of forest therapy to central Indiana. And so my role, when I'm able to lead walks at the museum where I work, it's wonderful. And I love interacting with our participants and leading forest therapy as a guide. But there's just me, and I don't have time every day, as wonderful as that would be, to be leading walks all the time. And so this led me down the path of how can we bring forest therapy to our guests on a more regular basis. And so certifying our trails for forest therapy was the perfect thing to do, so that we could certify the trail for self-guided forest therapy programs. This way it's available to more of our guests throughout the week, throughout the times that we're open, and yeah, just expose them to this growing beautiful practice of forest therapy. Going back to the mission that I shared earlier, just because parts of it really resonate for this work in forest therapy. The vision is to expand boundaries of history and natural resources by exploring, celebrating, and improving the human experience. So speaking to this idea of expanding the boundaries, I think typically at many museums, most of the programming tends to be around that cognitive development, learning and learning history or learning about art or whatever it is. But integrating forest therapy into a museum setting can be just this different way to just try something, new and different, and just expand what audiences might expect when they visit. A second part of our vision is exploring and celebrating, and I think forest therapy is a beautiful way to explore the natural world and to celebrate it, especially in that way of building the health and relationships with and to the land. The third part of our vision I actually push back against because it's about improving the human experience. And as Holly Jo talked about earlier with that one health, that image in the circle. I'm more of a visual person, so I remember it. It's not just about human health, right? It's about our relationships with the land and with the space. And that's what I think is so important and impactful in a forest therapy trail, is it's connecting people to the land, but also with the land and stewarding the entire space. So that way we're not just focused on our own health when we're practicing forest therapy, but focusing on the health of the space where we are practicing as well. And so as an unofficial wildlife preserve at Conner Prairie, it's also just a wonderful way to care for and tend to all the beings that we share the space with on our trails. And finally, what I like about having a forest therapy trail in this place at this living history museum that people have been coming to for almost 50 years, it's this reminder that even though we're in the suburbs and we think, oh, there's just development everywhere, it's that great reminder that nature really is everywhere. And this practice of forest therapy doesn't have to be out in a truly wild space, as we know. It can be anywhere, and it can be right here in our backyard. We have a lot of members who come to the museum over and over, and it's a way to just try something different when they come to visit. So that's a little bit about our museum and what brings forest therapy there. Specifically about the trails is that the trails are not just for forest therapy, they're for people to use all the time. And every 10th of a mile, we have these mile markers that let people know how far they've gone and when they might want to, turn around, or if they just want to have a place to rest. And so that's the perfect space to then have these different forest therapy invitations along the trails. And at our trailheads, we have, where did I put it? Sorry, I'm in the car. We're driving home from our vacation. At the trailheads, we have these brochures. We also call them leaflets. And every 10th of a mile, there's a different invitation there for people to engage with their senses and engage with the space. And it's really nice because it allows people to explore the space on their own and just be self-guided in the space. So building off of what Holly Jo said, if you have not yet been to a forest therapy trail, I would very much encourage you to do that. The map, I believe, is coming soon on the ANFT website, where you can click on the map and it shows you where the forest therapy trails are. And even as a guide, I've had the chance to go and visit other trails when I've been doing research and building ours. And I love them because it's a way for me to feel like I can get out of my own headspace as a guide and just be guided by the trail. And so I would recommend that you all find a forest therapy trail and go check it out. And if there's not one near you, perhaps this is a chance to learn more about certifying a trail. So I'm going to wrap up from there and pass it back to Holly Jo.
You're muted, Holly Jo.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle and Florencia, for sharing your experiences. And yeah, I do want to open it up. I don't know, I haven't looked in the chat here if we have any questions. But if anybody has any questions for Michelle, Florencia, and I, we'll be happy to answer those. And I do want to let folks know that we do have more information on the ANFT website if you are looking to find a trail. Like Michelle says, said, we do have a placeholder map in there that does show where the trails are. We do have a more interactive map coming so that you can actually look for different features that you might want to find out on the trail. And that way you can sort by, you know, if you definitely want a water experience and water needs to be a part of that, you'll be able to search. If you need to find out the accessibility level of the trail that you're going to, and if it can accommodate folks that have mobility challenges, we'll be able to sort by that as well. So, but you can go to the ANFT website, and we do have a lot of information there about the process of certifying. I know there is a question about that. You know, the evaluation, when the consultant comes out, they will come out a couple different times and do an evaluation, usually about a 4 or 5 hour visit to really get a feel for the trail, if it's not a place they visited before. And then they'll provide recommendations and invitations, and then they'll come back and help with placement of those curated invitations and signage. So it can move actually fairly quickly. Some projects take as little as a month and others take much longer, just depending on what the land managers choose to include when they're curating that space. And the cost can vary widely. A large portion of that is really up to the land manager in what type of curation needs to happen on the trail. Are we going to be building a shelter? Or are we just going to be adding some benches? Are we going to be putting in a sit spot? Or do we need to put in a small, you know, access bridge over a riparian area so that people have access? So it really depends on what the land manager, what their budget is, and we will work with the land manager to help support their vision with the budget that they have available to them, to help curate those spaces.
There's a question in the chat, Holly Jo. I'm not sure if you're seeing those.
Yeah, yeah. Is it possible to include people with disabilities in the certification process? Darcy, what do you mean by that exactly? Can someone highlight? I'm not sure what that question.
I don't know, Holly, if it's about inclusivity trail, an inclusivity trail. I don't know if Darcy is.
Yeah, you know what?
For that.
That might be, you know, when we evaluate the trail, that is one of the things that we're looking at is ease of access. So it's not a requirement that the trail be accessible to everyone, but we certainly want people to know before they go and visit these trails what level of accessibility they have. And we do, when we do the evaluation with the land managers, we help them by basically looking at the ease of access. Do we have parking so that people that need, that are coming in a wheelchair, and is there enough parking space? Are the parking spaces wide enough? So we look at not only the ecosystem, but we are also looking at safety and accessibility. Yes, so I think I answered that. So many of the trails are fully accessible and some are not. So that is why we want to be able to have folks filter that on the map so that if you need a trail that's fully accessible, you'll be able to find one.
So there's a couple more questions that have come through.
Yeah, collaboration with the National Park Service. I know the one park that we were engaging with was a national park that actually is in Puerto Rico. But it, you know, and I was on yesterday speaking, or not speaking, but asked a question around inroads with the National Park Service. And the advice we got was to really work with the local folks. So start with the land manager directly at the facility or venue that you want to work with to engage with them in that way. It can be challenging funding sources when you're working with agency that way. Does anyone experience on inclusive trails and the benefits impact on drug users and the homeless? I don't know that there's specific studies that have been done on that, but I do know that these trails are being utilized in that way. They're also being used really to help heal communities. The Forest Therapy Trail in Hawaii, after the fires swept through there, has been a real sense of healing and restorative for the community. So,
And Holly Jo, I think we have time for one more. And there was one from Will Bruner, wondering how important the owner of the land a trail is on, local or state, national government, private. What
yeah,
future commitments do owners take on?
the land manager's commitment is that they are really committing to making sure that that trail stays safe. So once we certify the trail, we make sure that it's accessible and safe and open to the public. So if, we just want to know that that trail is going to be maintained in that way. If they have installed invitational signage and other types of things, we want to know that once it's been certified as a trail, and it will stay certified in perpetuity, there is no recertification. Once it's certified, it stays certified. But we would expect that if there was any changes to that trail, if it was damaged by a weather event or it was closed for any reason, we do ask that the land manager let us know so that we can we want to keep people informed as to the condition of the trail and if it's open or not to the public. Wendy?
I just want to give a plug for this program and Holly Jo because the trail building, I'm just thankfully after a long time finishing my first trail of many. And it's just been such a rich learning experience as a guide. I've learned so much. So I highly encourage others to step forward and do this. Really an amazing experience.
Thank you, Wendy.
All right. Thank you, Wendy. And thank you, Holly Jo. Thank you, Florencia. And thank you, Michelle, for being with us and sharing your expertise and all the amazing work that you're doing out there on the trails. So yeah, we're good. Whoops.